Hello friends, how are we doing? So you remember that we were looking at this Venezuela, we were looking at the masonic symbology, or at least the numerology behind it. Things such as Article 233, which is the constitutional path that's followed in Venezuela when a president gets deposed. Then we had the local time was 2:33 when the strikes took place. Then we had the total number of strikes on these alleged cocaine smuggling boats was 33 at the time. Then we had the next oil tanker that's going to be hijacked by the USA and its Delta Force was 33 kilometers north of Guadeloupe. So today, or perhaps it was yesterday their time, deposed President Maduro has been in court, hasn't he? Escorted by the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA. And of course, there's a spectator in the gallery who's come and he's not happy with the president because the president put him in prison. This guy is now a dissident in the USA. And what age is he, this guy? Is he, let's have a guess, 21? Nah. Is he 67? No, you guessed it. He's 33. Let's get into it. Hello legends, how we doing? I hope this finds you utterly phenomenal on this, which is another day in our paradise. Just remember, everything is the way it is meant to be. You might not be interpreting it right though, which is absolutely fine. I was like that once upon a time in my life. It ended me up homeless and chronically addicted to crystal meth and wandering the streets of Hong Kong, mentally unwell. Hence that book up there, Eating Smoke, my first memoir. I hope I wouldn't suggest. I hope you don't go down that path. But my point is, my thinking wasn't right, folks. I was locked in my ego self. I was living a life where divine presence was looking down at me and going, "Oi, sunshine. That ain't going to end well. I'm going to chuck a challenge in your path. You're going to have to get over it. And then boom, you are going to shine, sunshine. Literally shine with a radiance of enlightenment." And that's exactly what happened. And as you know, my story is, the rest is history. I've lived everywhere, traveled every single place I've ever wanted to go. I've written every book that I've ever wanted. I've got degree, a degree in youth work. I've done every adventure sport and ultra endurance event that I've ever wanted to do. But more importantly, I wake up balanced and grounded every single day, and none of these maniacs will get me down. However, I understand not everybody is like that, and it is a bit of a rocky road. So if you're not feeling it at the moment, stick with the show, because I'm not here for the ego or the riches, folks. I'm just here to impart, whatever that word is, release my knowledge to you, because you're a massive, massive legend. And I don't think anyone's told you that today, or the fact that you're massively loved. People don't tend to say this sort of stuff because they don't understand it. They're locked in the ego. They've created this false sense of identity that they stick with. And of course, what is that identity really? It's programming, isn't it? From a very young age by people that hate you, right? That's why in school you get taught what 10 oranges add 6 apples is, but they never teach you how to go up and put your arm around someone when they're upset and say, I love you. You're absolutely fine and things will always be better. So if you can like and subscribe, folks, having said all that, I will show you the way as far as I see it. And it's a good way because it means it doesn't matter what these maniacs do. You wake up every day in paradise, and that's what they hate because they want you in the darkness. Right, moving swiftly on. And yes, some of you noticed I did try to get in at 11:33 England time at GMT today, and I mislaid something, so I was a bit late. Apologies. Right, let's have a look at this. This is saying here they played us for fools.
We have 33 confirmed positive tests.
We have 33 Pennsylvanians who have tested positive for
COVID-19.
Today we have 33 cases.
There were 33 new cases.
The state of Minnesota today reported 33 new COVID-19 related deaths.
There are 33 confirmed cases in Arkansas.
That's the largest single-day increase so far, raising the total to 33.
Okay, we're not even half away through that video, and immediately you can see that they're all playing off the script. If you type 33 and Freemasonry into the Yandex search engine, you get pages and pages about the symbology of this number behind it. Christ's life, 33 years, 33 vertebrae that the Kundalini energy rises up through you. The fact that these guys are Satanists, the descendants of a guy, or their belief system is descendant from a guy called Sabbatai Zevi. Sabbatai in Hebrew means Saturn. These guys practice redemption through sin, so they'd hate Jesus. So they might even be using the number 33 as their signature number on these events to mock him. But I'll let you research that for yourself. What I wanted to say is this is nothing. If you're a Freemason, I'm not accusing you of anything. This is how it is. Back in history, I will come on to the Maduro thing, folks. Just hold fire. There's some good stuff coming out of that. But if I just get my slide up here. Back in history, you had these guys. This is when you hear of the New World Order, where this originated. The guy on the left, Jakob Frank, who was Sabbatai Zevi's descendant. And Sabbatai Zevi declared himself as the new Messiah in 1666, so 666. And he said, listen, folks, we don't have to be good. Let's have our interpretation of the Kabbalah. And the Kabbalah is essentially good, folks. The Kabbalah is rectifying all that's wrong in the human experience to create a whole, like a paradise, like obviously you always hear about. This lot, this Sabbatai Zevi said, well, look, let's not do that. Let's try and create our paradise by being absolutely evil, doing things like sacrifice and blood stuff and, into family sexual experience and all of this kind of evil rituals. And they wanted to kind of bring about their new Messiah, or him being the new Messiah, by being in debauchery, basically, as the opposite of your sort of, cleanliness is next to godliness sort of thing. Now, his successor was a chap called Jakob Frank, and back in the day, he went into business with Adam Weishaupt, who founded the Alumbrados, the Order of the Light, what people call the Illuminati, and they went into business with Nathan Rothschild, or or at least one of the Mayer Amschel Rothschild, I should say. And there's Robert's excellent book on the subject. Now, here's how it works, and pay attention to this, because this just explains everything that's going on. So these guys have come through the years, and they still trying to debaucherize everything. I always give the example. Look at Sam Smith, who performed at last night of the proms, or one of the prom nights, a quintessential English music festival, which is a little bit rah, 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 rah for like posh people. And suddenly they've got a guy dressed up as Satan. I don't know if he actually did that for the festival, but that's one of his things. He dresses up in PDF file symbology, like the Teletubby boots and this kind of stuff. That's why you see these guys thrust in front of you all the time. Madonna getting her baps out at, what is she, 97 years old now or something. This is what they practice. Hollywood tied into it, yada, yada, yada. So their job is to bring about this dark society in which they believe they will become God. Adam Weishaupt, the Illuminati, which was a esoteric fraternity, their job was to infiltrate Freemasonry and take control of the lodges worldwide, to take them from something that was an order of enlightenment, so something for good, brought back from the Knights Templar from the Crusades. Their job was to infiltrate it, to control those people that traditionally don't join trade unions. So your trade unions are controlled by this cabal, but also they recognize not everyone's in a trade union, in not all the workers. So say a milliner or a hairdresser won't be in a trade union because they're independent, so they would be joining the Masons. So this lot were like, we've got to get in there, and this is why it's no surprise now that many judges are Masons. All the hierarchy of your military are Masons. This is why when you see these wars, and it's so obvious that this isn't a war about freedom and democracy, this is about oil, etc., etc. Why is no one in the military standing up? Why did they jab their people, with certain things, and nobody stood up for these guinea pigs? Well, now you start to see. In fact, it's even my buddy in the SAS said to me, Chris, you'll see a trooper tearing a strip off like a sergeant major, and you're walking by going, hang on, like I wouldn't say boo to a goose, and here's a trooper, like a squaddy, tearing a new arsehole of a sergeant major. What's that? And then, of course, you look at it from the esoteric perspective. They're in the lodge together. And in the lodge, the trooper is the Grand Master, and the sergeant major is the new guy. So very bizarre. Not my thing, even though I've got the 33 on today. Remember, numerology is what you make of it, folks. You shouldn't be letting all this frighten you. Create your paradise. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was that. And then, of course, this lot, the Rothschilds, they bankrolled it all. They created the debt-based slavery system of usury, fractional reserve banking that we are all a slave to now, or to a certain degree. And that is your quintessential New World Order. So when you see these numbers that the man in the street would laugh at, tinfoil hat or whatever, no, this is the Adam Weishaupt lot doing the job that they were paid to do, which was to communicate this agenda through symbology, through things that would be completely lost. Someone said the other day, my Adidas shoe's got 3 on it. Why is it not 33, Chris? I said, well, because it's got 3 on both sides of the shoe. Look at the logo of Mercedes. You think it's this weird thing with a triumvirate in the middle. And no, you look at that and skew your eyes. What is it? It's the black cube, isn't it? The black cube of Saturn, the north pole of Saturn, which when you look at its hexagonal form, is that right? I'm not good with this sort of thing, folks, but from a 3D perspective, becomes a cube. Look at the flag or the star of a certain stolen nation, and then look like that. What do you see again? You see the black cube of Saturn. So these guys know what they're doing, folks. They know what they're doing, and they think you're too dumb to see it. And there is a lot of unenlightened people out there. So, but that's not our worry. There, incidentally, again, get on Yandex, type in Saturn black cube. This is your black rock, your black stone. This is your black cube. Is an Israeli ex-MOSSAD security service. They call black cube. You're going to find all this. This is the Donald on top of his office in Atlantic City. Has got a massive black cube. The Kaaba, the pilgrimage to Mecca is a black cube. You can see it there. And what do the people make when they walk around it? You can see, sorry, it's a bit small, but of course they're making the rings of Saturn, right? These guys take this seriously. This is a cult, folks, and cults aren't going to tell you they're a cult. So, getting back on but my point was, I know lots of Freemasons, folks, and I tell you now, they have no clue about any of this. This is not me having a go, it's more the overall effect of when you can control people through an organization, and organizations that are pyramid in structure, like the Masons, like the military, have the potential to be incredibly powerful and not in your best interest. So, in no particular order, there's a good video here on YouTube. This is on a channel called Asleep No More, and it's called 33 Freemasonry's Sacred Occult Number Explained. I can't play it because of the music, but you can see the symbologies everywhere. You see that it's made to look like World Wrestling or whatever that stands for, but in reality, it's the 33. Simpsons, well known, isn't it, for being the predictive programming. It's everywhere, and we've shown it already in this Venezuela thing all over the shop. There's the Bruce Willis film with the car. The 99 Red Balloons video. Anyone old enough to remember it? I am, unfortunately. And so on and so forth. And of course, this chap here, he's drawing attention to the reduction in when you use gematria. Why do the celebrities always do this diamond? You see Angela Merkel, they stand there making this diamond with their hand. Well, diamond in gematria is it's said to be 33. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, there you go. Diamond reduces. Remember, this is the code they use. They use gematria, numerology, which is the significance of using numbers or using numbers on material objects to create a meaning. Another one we're going to look at today, in conjunction with the fake space thing, is the color orange. Sorry, my spelling's bad. It will still be the same because it doesn't matter. It's that each letter has a number assigned to it, so it doesn't actually matter which order you put them in. So if you're dyslexic like me, I'm not actually dyslexic, but possibly might be quite a few things. You can see it comes to 33. So, yes, moving on. Let's have a look more at the Venezuela thing. Folks, could you like and subscribe? I'm sure many of you are realising you haven't seen this kind of stuff anywhere. Some of you have been in the truth movement for a long time. I would strongly suggest you support a former commando who's put his life, quote unquote, on the line for his country, who has the freaking balls to stand up and say all this, because I can tell you now, that dream that you have of like all the military turning and the veterans coming up and overthrowing this, this new world order, the truth is 99.9% have no clue about it, folks. So you should be supporting the ones that are willing to stand up for you and your children. Thank you. Right, in no particular order, so Maduro's in court. What's he wearing? What do they make the prisoners wear to symbolise their power over them? They wear the orange, don't they? As we've seen, orange in numerology, it's the 33. It's the signature code. This is the chap. They could have picked anyone age. I'm talking to cabal now. They could have picked any stooge to stick in the audience to shout stuff at Maduro, and the one guy they stick in there, this exile, is 33 years old. Here they are here. I'm suggesting, folks, that all this DEA on the floor, look, kilos of cocaine on the wall. This is that they want to push the narco-trafficking narrative, as opposed to we want the oil and the precious resources for our AI data centers, which is what most people would say it is really about. I don't know that 100%, folks. I'm just a human being like you. I'm not trying to claim I'm Einstein here. I'm just, what they show you in the media is all a psyop, all of it. There's a reason for this, There's a reason probably that Maduro's going along with it as well as he is, whatever. But that's the kind of scenario they're setting up. And of course, is this because they hate drug smugglers or narco traffickers? Of course not. It's because they want to control it all. What do you think Afghanistan was about? Lithium for the electric cars, for your 15-minute cities and your digital ID and your digital passport and your digital currency and your social credit system, and let's get rid of the log burners and make them illegal. It's all about containing you in this electrical smart grid that also incidentally can make you very ill, and they want to control it. Look at the Bush family. The Bush family, who had a steel factory outside Auschwitz, manned by slave labor from the camp. Yes, you heard that right. That was the Bush family. The Bush family who made their money not only on supplying the Luftwaffe, was it through Union Oil? Someone will know better. Supplying the Luftwaffe fuel during the war. So they were, supplying the quote unquote enemy fuel. I don't think they were our enemy, folks, but that's the narrative, isn't it? And of course, what did they make their money on historically? The original Herbert Walker Bush. It was from opium smuggling, like a lot of the merchants. If you want to learn more about this, look at the Sassoon family. The Sassoon family were almost single-handedly responsible for destroying China and stealing the power from their emperor. They actually brought down the Chinese government because they had such power in supplying opium sourced in India using their merchant ships. Remember Bob Marley, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Oh, pirates, yes, they rob I, sold I to the merchant ships. Same dark club friends, right? So that's the Bush family history. The judge is going to be 92-year-old, 90211, Alvin Hellerstein, a federal judge appointed to the bench by Bill Clinton almost 3 decades ago. Right? What year was this judge born in, friends? This Jewish judge called Alvin Hellerstein, what year was he born in? Was it, I'll give you a few options. Was it 1932? Was it 1934? Or was it... I can't find it now. Here we go, look. Or was it 1933? I'll go for... I'm using Wikipedia, folks. We know who writes Wikipedia. I don't need a lecture. Just using it as an example. There you go. Look, the old judge was born in 1933. There's quite a lot about him on here. So he's an Orthodox. So he believes in taking Scripture literally. So those first books of the Old Testament, known as the Torah, which are in reality are Enlightenment doctrine. We've covered this. Enlightenment doctrine. So Egypt is all about you, folks. The Scriptures is about you, no one else. It's not about me. It's not about groups of people, vagabonds running around the desert, melting their jewelry down to do devil worship. Forget that. All of it is an allegory. Allegory for how you get control of your biochemical mechanism, your serotonin and DMT, aka milk and honey, because they resemble milk and honey. And if you live your life like I'm telling you, I'll give you all the support you need. Your brain will start producing these chemicals. You will enter a place called nirvana, and you enter the land of milk and honey. Do you get it? So if some mentalist like this judge starts to tell you that land of milk and honey, actually no, that's a place, in the East, and I've got a right to it because I'm more special than you, then you know it's a load of fucking bullshit, right? But because people have been too thick and dumbed down over the years, haven't bothered to, pick up this dictionary, the Dictionary of Scriptures and Myths, this one here, they go along with this nonsense that's put out by the churches. What was the church? Church was left behind by the Roman Empire when they couldn't fight any more people because they was too overstretched, and they had to pull back to Rome, and the merchants legged it to a swamp which became known as Venice, hence your Venetian families. Then they left behind esoteric societies to control the people. They left behind the financial debt-based money slavery system, and they left behind Catholicism, their religion, because they do not want you to know that religion is allegory. So bread from heaven just means you're attuning yourself to the universe, which you do through meditation, and you will get this, what they call chi, prana, this eternal energy. Or that fish, for example, when Jesus is giving out fish and bread, his fish represents wisdom. It's talking about imparting wisdom, and Jesus being your pineal gland. All of this you learn with this book, folks. I will do a shout out here because I've put a link for this in the description box below. If you buy a copy from my Amazon shop, I might make a few pence off you. If you can't afford it, however, I found a free Creative Commons ones online, and if you sign up for my newsletter, I send it to you by return email, if you get what I mean. That and a copy of Eat and Smoke, my memoir. So a free copy of my internationally best-selling memoir. Plus you get this one. Just sign up for my newsletter. There's a link or just go to my website. There's a box at the top. You just type your name in, or there's a link below. So that's what we're saying. And when you get that dictionary, then you understand that Egypt is people living in bondage. All these celebrities and sports stars with 25 Ferraris that end up, on drugs or drinking themselves to death. You'll understand that the Israelites, that represents enlightened thought. Israel, Isis, Ra, and Elohim. But I'm not going to go there. The staff, Moses carries a staff because your pineal gland requires you to live righteously. That doesn't mean like a dick. It means you've got to have a frugal diet. Otherwise, you're constantly trying to process food, and it steals the energy from your pineal and your pituitary, which is a torus field within the bigger torus field of the sun and the moon, where the energy's coming from. And if you deny yourself this energy, you just live your life like a donut. This is, you're like literally looking down all the time. That's why you want to come out of your lower self, your Egypt. You cross water. Red stands for your emotional body. Water stands for elevated consciousness. So this is like when you're waking up before you're enlightened, you wake up. Burning bush is your pineal, your epiphanous gland, your epiphany gland. When you see your archangel, when you see this spark of bright light, when you have this, when you make the step into enlightened consciousness. Golden calf represents organized religion and being in the matrix and thinking that, hey, I'm going to take my power, this divinity within, which Jesus came to show me. Jesus came to show me that I'm awesome. He didn't come here for me to tell everyone that he's awesome and to nail him up on the wall at his worst possible moment in his life. That's not how it works. In reality, the allegory is it's your pineal gland. And if you do this what they call false idol worshiping, which is projecting your power, your divinity outside of you, rather than realizing you're a divine manifestation. You are the all, the everything. You're experiencing life subjectively through this organism. So you are me and I am you, which is why I wish you all the love in the world. And I hope that you too are also in that place. When you read the comment sections on social media, you can see a lot of people haven't got there yet. They're still projecting that inner pain, that living in Egypt, that bondage to the childhood trauma, the pain and the agony, and projecting it onto everyone. You've got to see the world out of the way I see it. I'm angry. Part of the waking up experience. I think many people experience that during the scam. You know the scam I'm on about, and I found myself like that, getting quite angry with people. Right, so that's that. The tablets is your pituitary gland because it controls your tree of life, which is your central nervous system, which is basically how you act. Moses is the Old Testament pineal. Jesus is the New Testament pineal. And we talked about milk and honey. So that was just a little sidetrack off this. Whenever you see this orthodox thing, they say it like it's something to be proud of. No, this is just absolute religious indoctrination and brainwashing to the point where people genuinely believe that tigers and lions and rabbits got onto a boat together, and the reason that they didn't all eat each other or jump overboard running away was because God let them eat grain. This is not, this is not something we should be leaving unchallenged, friends. Do you understand that you're not being respectful to go, well, you're more respectful to say, hang on a sec, there's a lot of these types actually making decisions on your everyday life, and as we've seen, it gets darker. We'll come on to the Sabbatean and Frankist stuff at the end. So here he is, the judge that was born in 33, was appointed by Bill Clinton. And he oversaw the September 11th litigation for victims and workers. Do you think he told them the truth, friends? Do you think he said that this event was orchestrated by a dark cabal using the security apparatus of a certain stolen state in conjunction with their network worldwide, like the BBC, in order to initiate the next step forward in their new world order, which is establishing more American military bases in the world? No disrespect to you lovely Americans, this is nothing to do with you. This is a cult. They control and own the military industrial complex. Do you think he told them that, or do you think they went off the basis that this was orchestrated by an aging guy who was dying on a kidney dialysis machine in a cave in Tora Bora, who single-handedly, without one single recorded mobile phone call or one financial transaction, managed to bring down the whole world for a few days and then change the course of history irrevocably through security policy? So they say he was appointed by Bill Clinton. Why was he appointed by Bill Clinton? Well, for that, we have to understand Bill's hand in the old... Look, I've got some racked up already. Yes, the Sandinistas, wasn't it? The Nicaraguan Contra affair. Iran Gate. Many of you will be too young to remember it. So essentially what happened is, down there in Nicaragua, a place I backpacked through, they had a democratically elected government that was social. Some might even say communist, so probably backed by China or Russia. But they were called the Sandinistas. They were democratically voted in. But cabal, based out of Washington, were like, no, we can't have that. So what they did is they shipped coke from South America through Nicaragua, loaded it onto planes there. There's a film made about this with Tom Cruise, definitely worth watching, based on the true story of one of the pilots. And somebody put it in the comments what his name was. And what happened is they shipped the coke into the United States. Then they sold arms to Iran, even though declaring Iran was a terrorist state. You and I know that's not true, but this is the narrative that Reagan pushed on the public. And they sold arms to Iran in an effort to get Iran to release 50 American hostages so that the American government could look good and not talk about the fact that we've actually sold our enemy, our quote-unquote enemy, this government, we've sold them weapons. And then they funded the Nicaraguan Contras in Nicaragua to overthrow this democratically elected government. It gets worse. So much coke rocked up in the United States that they couldn't sell it. The bottom dropped out of the market. What I mean is, it wasn't going to be good. There was no... The criminal chain kind of foundered, really. So they thought, right, what can we do? Why don't we rock it up into something called crack, a much more potent high, and can be sold in these little rocks. So we'll reduce all this massive amount of coke coming in down to these highly potent rocks, and we'll bang them out. We'll bang them out in dime bags or 50-cent bags. Do you get it? 50 cent? And when it all folded and it all started coming to light and getting exposed, they blamed it all on one guy. Was it Free Ray Ricky Ross, I believe his name was? I might have that slightly wrong. So that's Bill Clinton. But it gets worse. Where did they fly the coke into? Whose ranch? In Arkansas. A certain president who was too busy banging his Jewish secretary, a girl called Monica Lewinsky. Yes, you heard it here first. Bill Jefferson Clinton said to be one of, allegedly, Sean Atwood's very good on this, isn't he? Allegedly, him and his wife responsible for an awful lot of people that are possibly no longer with us. So, yes, there you go. There's your cocaine connection, hey? There we go. Now, moving on. Dun, dun, dun. I think we've covered all of this. This guy represented Harvey Weinstein. So again, that's the Hollywood connection of the dark cult. Remember, Hollywood's job is to brainwash you. Hollywood being the occult wood, the Hollywood that they made the magic wands out of back in the day when they were doing, or it's not even back in the day, when they do their ceremonies to let the darkness through, they use the Hollywood. And Hollywood's job is to brainwash you by always putting out hero films, the hero story. So essentially, what Hollywood are telling you is this: you're absolutely crap. You're just a mundane, run-of-the-mill loser guy. You are like the big, like Jeff Lebowski, right? And the reason you are, and you will be for the rest of your life, is you're not like our hero here, Tom Cruise, or whoever it might be, who was a loser like you, but then he faced this big challenge in his life, and he overcame that challenge, whether it was climbing a mountain or beating playing rugby for South Africa, or overcoming or being the first this or that. He overcame this challenge, and then he got the adoration of everyone. Everybody loved him then. Do you see what they're saying? They're saying that you need to overcome this massive hero thing to be loved in this life. And if you remember what I said at the beginning, that's nonsense. You're massively loved as it is. You're divine energy. You are the divine. They don't want you to know that. They want you to keep striving for this material gain and this bullshit ego stuff your whole life, so you never ever go, that's it, divine energy, infinity. Some people call that meditation, but you don't have to go to a mountain in Tibet. Quite ironic, seeing as though I'm going to a mountain in Tibet this year. On that note, folks, quick shout out. Thank you everybody that's chipped in a $5 for my upcoming Mount Everest summit. Going to Mount Everest in April. I'm going to be shining a light for all those veterans out there who struggled like me. I'm going to be telling my story on all the platforms. I've already been on GB News telling them like they got idiots for supporting this Iran war. Some of you might have seen it. And moreover, I'm going to be drawing the link between childhood trauma and the veteran suicide problem, because no one is talking about, like literally no one. If you can drop us a $5, folks, there's a link. It will be the first link in the comment section, or there's a link in the description box. A massive thank you to John Simmons, Jason Day, that's my Jason, Kenny Payne, who support me monthly there. Thank you so much, Kenny. Paul Duckworth and Shazad, who's given me a lot of money over the years for my charity efforts. Thank you, Shazad. Really appreciated. So yeah, you don't have to do that stuff. You're a hero already. They don't want you to know that. They want you, through their music industry, to be lost in love. Oh, he left me on a Tuesday and he took the cat on a Wednesday, and on a Thursday he came and kicked me in the face, and on a Friday he stole my bicycle, and no one loves me and I'm a loser. That's the music industry, isn't it? Essentially, I'm not talking about the rave era, which was house music, which was the complete opposite, about unity, oneness, one love. We are universal. They soon clamped down on that, the rave era, didn't they? They want you with a soppy, no one's ever going to love me thing, because they don't want you to know your love from birth. So there you go. Moving on, there's a lot of articles online if you want to find out about the crack and the Contras. and all their parts in it. This is also Judge Hellerstein. He was famous for a person called Charlie Yavis, who was convicted of defrauding JP Morgan of its 175 million acquisition of her startup Frank. I don't know the background to this, but the fact that her age was 33 years at this time would certainly make me suspicious. We've covered that. Right, Orange. We looked at Orange. James Corden. This was on his book cover when I was, what was I? I was number 12 bestseller in the UK, my book. And James was number 10. So I was above James in the best-selling rankings, but I was below Gary Neville, which seemed quite appropriate. But what are we saying here? Why is James doing this funny symbolism that everyone thinks is the Eye of Horus, which it could be? Eye of Horus is the area of your brain that encircles your pineal gland. Looks like an eye, doesn't it? Goes back to ancient Egypt. But I think this is way more to do with the fact that when Saturn was allegedly our sun, it looked like an eye, like a huge purple eye looking down. Hence the reason the occult like their colour purple in the royalty and the church and this sort of thing. But, you know, that might not be a definite. So there's James there. This is his condition. You've heard of the MK Ultra program. This isn't very pleasant, folks. It's not awful. But if you look at the symbology, what are they trying to say? This is the Tango advert. So remember, Tango is an orange drink. Now look at these, I'd call them dirty old men with this very young, vulnerable boy. And then you can start to see how many years in advance they program their celebrities for.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm asking you if you can seriously consider
to see the jumper.
Consider
stocking more tango.
Right, I'm just going to move this on because it's 2 minutes. But look, there's our boy minding his own business when suddenly all these, I'm just going to say what it is, folks, PDF files burst in on him.
Well, James, we know where you live.
What are you doing in my house?
Do you see he had the diamonds on his jumper? Diamonds being 33, orange being 33.
What are you doing in my house?
Who are you?
Who are you?
And this isn't weird enough now. Jesus Christ. Look at the... I hate to sound crude, folks, but look at the symbology. Look what is really going on in this situation. Look at that. This is, you'd get time in prison for doing this to a child. Everyone draws attention to the upside down 666 on his forehead. I don't know about that. But what I do know is that is not about somebody being forced to drink a drink, is it? I'm not going to say any more, folks. You either understand, you either get this, or probably like the masses, you just think, oh no, it's an innocent advert. You're making way too much out of it. Remember, Sabotage Zevi, redemption through sin. Redemption through sin, right. And of course, the Freemasons that formed the Apollo missions, one of which was Buzz Aldrin, said to be a 33rd degree Mason. I can't remember which lodge he was in. but reimbursed his $33. So again, symbology. Then a lot of people mention the film The Shining. In the film The Shining, this pattern on the floor is said to represent the enclosure that the rocket sat in. They were shaped very much like this, the launch pads for the rocket. Interesting that they're in orange. But what I was drawing attention to was not the Apollo mission on the lad's jumper, or the 237 on the door, which is its 237,000 miles to the moon is what they claim. It was here. It's the orange tang in the film The Shining, which is an alluding to the orange drink that the astronauts drank. Why orange? Because orange in Masonic symbolism is 33. Now, I'm just going to come on here. I haven't highlighted all of this, but if you want to have a rough understanding of Kabbalah, where this abortion or this abomination of the Kabbalah comes from, this Sabbatean Frankism, you can start with a guy called Rabbi Isaac Luria, who came up with something called Lurianic Kabbalah. It's talking about how in the light, because remember everything's light, they had to make a space for creation, which is done through the structuring of the Sephirot, which are these dots that you see in the Kabbalah chart, and that 600,000 souls. You'll see this number a lot in the media as well, folks. Another nod to what's going on here. That these sparks were all sort of disseminated, and they represent the scatteredness of human society, and that in order to repair the world, which is referred to as tikkun olam, you've got to gather all these sparks back up. You've got to heal them through prayer, ethical living. Remember, I've talked about this, and restoring cosmic harmony. This is the true meaning of Old Testament enlightenment doctrine, triggering off your pineal, your Moses, through humble living, by going to up on the mountain to see God, which just means entering your upper self, which you do when you pray. Pray just means meditate, folks. It doesn't mean what the church tells you, praying for a new mountain bike. Not that, we haven't all done that. So this is what this refers to. And what's happened here is the Sabbatean Kabbalah, the followers of Sabbatai Zevi, which has come down through the years. If you're wondering whether it has or not, just think about the events in New York and Washington. Thousands of people massacred in this ceremony, and off the back of it, 1 million more in the East. That ain't normal. If you try and tell me that's a normal act of a normal person, we're going to have to politely disagree. That is an act of extreme evil, depravity. To actually know that was going to happen, and to go to the banks and the stock market and the insurance companies to put your money on it because you knew it was... That is like next level satanic behavior. Saturn... Sabbatai Zevi, Saturn. Now, what they've done is they've taken the Kabbalah, which focuses on the elevating the divine sparks back to God, basically. So repairing the universe. They've inverted this into a doctrine of redemption through sin, deliberately transgressing laws, like, for example, the Noahide laws, which many of you mention. The Noahide laws, very simple. It's just a simple creed for living. Don't be horrible about people. Don't eat meat. Eat a simple, frugal, humble diet. That has been changed, the meat thing now. They've got this Noahide knife that they say you slaughter the animals humanely. Just think about that. I'll let you think about that. So they slaughter, I think it's 30 trillion animals a year who die absolutely terrified, pissing and shitting themselves because they know they're next. That said, if you do it with a knife, it's humanely. But this is Noahide law, and you can look it up for yourself. There's like 10 Noahide laws, very similar to the, what was written on the tablets, which just essentially means it's your covenant that you make with the divine about your way of living. So this antinomian approach, this opposite approach, influenced by Zevi's forced conversion to Islam, so Sabbatai's million followers of Judaics, they converted to Islam. So in order to escape retribution, because Sabbatai was locked up and threatened with death, because everyone was pissed off with him, align with Saturn's archetype as a former sun in some mythic cosmologies, representing a hidden eclipse light governing material constraints. Material constraints meaning if you live in your ego, your material body with your fast cars and your drugs and your alcohol and your living in this meat suit, basically, you're constrained. You cannot elevate. You cannot elevate your conscious. You will not be born again. I'm not talking about Christianity here. Born again means when you realize you've got to get over this thing here. And the black cube as its emblem, seen instructions like the Kaaba, which mirrors Saturn's hexagonal pole storm. Hexagon was the word I was looking for. Did I say? No, I did say hexagon. Look at a hexagon and you'll see the cube. Look at the flag of a certain state. You'll see the same thing. And rings in ritual circumambulation. Such motifs persist in modern symbolism from corporate emblems like BlackRock, the name evoking the black stone, so the black stone on the North Pole of Saturn, this what do they call it? Hexagonal pole storm, which just means a magnetic storm, folks, that makes this black cube look like a black cube. If you're wondering what I'm on about, we're talking about, where are we? Hang on. Yeah, we're talking about this black cube, folks. Try and get you an image of it on the North Pole of Saturn. Dun, 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 dun. It ties in with everything. Remember, like Trump Towers there. Look, behind me there. Look, Trump Towers. Michael Jackson with the rings of Saturn. Remember, he said, they don't really care about you. I got Elon there doing the vow of silence. There, you can see here, this is Saturn. There's the octagonal shape, which is an octagonal field of gases in a storm that looks like the black cube. Again, just going to type something in here. See if I can find it. It's the Mercedes logo. This is a optical illusion. Squint your eyes and look at it. Can you see the black cube? Do you see it? You might have to play around a bit there. But yes, there we go. So that, my lovelies, is a rough approximation of what's going on. I'm going to... can we get some likes and subscribe, friends? That would be absolutely awesome. If you can chuck us a like and a subscribe, click the notification bell. That would be wicked. I'm going to go over to locals now to chat with my locals crew. All the things that I can't say on the other platforms, we can go and have a nice bit of freedom of speech over there. There's a link for locals running along the bottom of the screen, folks, or there's one in the description box. Locals is for those ones of you that want a bit more. I very often do a life coaching video. Try and do one every morning. Haven't done them over Christmas, folks. I will get back into them. I do a life coaching video every morning, usually from the sauna, just to keep you on focus. So this, remember, you need your spiritual armor. This stuff is just negative as hell, right? This needs to bounce off you like water off a duck's back. If it doesn't, it means that your spiritual armor is down, or as they say in Star Wars, you're not using the Force. So I can help you with that. Best place to do it, though, is locals. So, yes, there we go. Right. If you want to support me, folks, as many of you kindly do, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for £1.99 a month, Patreon for £1.99 a month, locals, or buy me a coffee for £1.99 a month. You'll get access to our Zoom meeting. We had our Zoom meeting, our monthly Zoom meeting last night. Lovely bunch of people turned up. We put the world to rights. We talked about some of my extreme stunts over the years. Thank you to everybody that came. But you get free access to that if you can support me, folks. Because as you're probably aware, I can't work for free. What's the time? It's coming up for 1 o'clock, and all I've done today is this video. I can't work for free, folks. So I'm sure you understand that. So there we go. And just to say, we have one place left for our Arctic Legends. If you want to come on this trip, send me an email via my website, christhrall.com. christhrall.com. We're going to go up to the Arctic. There's my team of former Royal Marines Commandos. We're all experienced in the outdoors. We're going to be staying in this very nice outdoor centre up in the Arctic Circle. And when we've trained you in skiing and survival, we're going to be donning our backpacks and skiing from hut to hut for 3 days. Living by candlelight, bonding, telling lads stories. This is a guy's trip. If you're a girl, we're taking the girls next year. Send me an email. If you can't make it this year, blokes, girls, send me an email. I'll put you down for next year. But this is less than the price of a skiing holiday, folks. It's well worth it. Not many people can say they've been on an expedition to the Arctic Circle. And yeah, there we go. So one last thing, if you can like and subscribe, folks, that would be absolutely awesome. I'm just going to come to the chat to say thank you to you guys. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Book of Revelation, there's an awful lot in it, but remember, it's not doomsday prophecy, folks. It's allegory for your spiritual battle that's going on inside you and nothing else. Yes, this is this is a sort of misnomer here. This is the way the brain works. So your typical person who's not had that spark of awakening will live in their left brain, their rational program brain. The first thing they'll say to you in any kind of debate is, well, what's the evidence? What's the survey? And they're not realizing that they're on this frequency. Life operates on a whole range of different frequencies. And it's not until you tune into the higher frequency that you start to see the bigger sort of holistic picture. This is called gnosis, knowing. So rational people, they just believe they know. And, you know, some things are hard facts, like things in science. I know that's debatable, and some things you only know through knowing. And you're only going to know spirit, the eternal energy, if you go on the path, basically. Yeah, that tango ad, it's just, once you see it, do you see what I'm saying? Most people will look at that, they'll be, no, it's just a drink advert. What are you on about? It's just like, it's just a drink advert. They don't know about the orange. They don't know about the 33 in numerology. They don't know that the Sabbatai and Frankis are PDF files, massively. Redemption through sin. They don't know about MK Ultra, that they groom these celebrities. What did James Corden go on to? He went on to become the biggest celebrity in America on talk show wise, didn't he? Or at least one of the biggest chat shows. Do you not ask how? No disrespect to the guy. I personally, I've got to be careful what I say here, but, you know, give me someone like Dave Allen. Do you remember Dave Allen? Sat there smoking a tab, just telling jokes, like the time that Paddy and Murphy, this is gonna upset the politically correct now. They went to Rome to visit Rome, Paddy and Murphy, and they went in a bar, and they said, "Have a drink there, please, barman." I'm not going to try and do the accent. I'm going to upset the Irish even more than I'm doing already. Just remember, folks, when we lose the humour, we're fucked. They've won. The same as the music. And the barman says, "Yeah, well, what drink would you like?" He says, "Well, give us a, what does the Pope drink?" He said, "Well, the Pope traditionally drinks creme de menthe." So this, like, liqueur spirit. And I'm, okay, yeah. Give us 2 pints of that. So the barman serves them up 2 pints of creme de menthe. 14 pints later, they wake up in their hotel room. Paddy's up there, like, naked, hanging from the chandelier. Murphy's on the ground. He's just covered in puke. And Murphy looks up at Paddy. He says, "Say there, Paddy. If that's the stuff the Pope drinks, it's no wonder they carry him around in a chair." Right, folks, much love. I'll see you over on Locals.
Morning, legends. I'm Chris Thrall. I'm a former Royal Marines commando. Upon leaving the forces, ended up chronically mentally unwell, self-medicating, undiagnosed trauma, and homeless on the streets of Hong Kong. It was the toughest battle I ever had to fight, but without the support of the medical community, without self-help groups, I learned the answers to rebuild my life, go on to complete a series of extreme charity challenges to send a vital message out there for other veterans who are struggling. I've run the length of the United Kingdom, run across the Sahara Desert, rode across the Atlantic Ocean. Now I'm taking on my biggest challenge yet, climbing Mount Everest. If you can support me, friends, and continue to shine a light for our struggling veterans and let them know there is life after PTSD, I'll put a link below. If you spare a fiver, that's absolutely fine. And let's give our veterans the respect that they deserve. Much love.
No matter